Okay, so at the moment I'm borrowing a few ThinkPads from a friend, and I'm about to ship out my X200, which I lever booted and sold on eBay. So I figured when I had most of the X series in my possession, I'd make a little video of it. So the X series is kind of like the IBM 2 series successor. This is a IBM 240. It's my only IBM 2 series computer. I only have, out of the classic ThinkPad models, I only have a 240 and a 380. So as you can see, it's a 240. The screen got cracked, so I'm probably going to be spending some money on a replacement screen. Luckily, they still have them on Alibaba, or AliExpress. So anyways though, that is my 240. I think it has a Pentium 2. It actually can run Debian. Okay. So I guess now to my... Well, I guess we'll go in chronological order. So this is, there are like, I think it starts at like the X20, but I don't have anything between the X20 and the X40, and I think those came with like a Pentium 3, and the X40 has like a Pentium M, but those are a little bit slow to use today. But I have an X60. So this is the X60. I really should have like fixed up and shipped out by now, because I managed to trade an X60 and a T60 for a full HD X220, but I'll get to that later. So this is the X60 that I've been using recently, because I switched from the X200 to this as my main system, so, or main laptop. So basically this is 4.3, and it comes with a 1024 by 768 display. The X60 can take the X200, or I mean it can take the X61 motherboards just fine. And the X60S motherboards, they use the same heatsink. You can't put an X61 or an X60 motherboard in an X61S, it's slightly thinner. They come with a 1024 by 768 display, but you can do a 1400 by 1050 mod with the IPS panel from the X60T, or I think actually X61T. But yeah, they also have a tablet variant, which is a tablet, and you know, it flips around like this, has like a digitizer. It's kind of cool. So I guess now to the X200 I'm shipping out. So this is an X200, has a 1280 by 800 display. It runs, well, you can install LibreBoot, but unlike the X60, you actually have to use a flash chip or flash clip to flash it, and you know, the whole ordeal like that. So you can't just, with the X60 you can just well, you can just run flash ROM internal, and it's installed completely software based. You can also do this with the T60, but I guess I shouldn't go on a tangent. So, yeah, it also takes X201 motherboards if you wanted to upgrade to that. I've already tried doing core boot on that, and it's barely passable, like, but it isn't a pleasant experience, so I rather have just had a X200. So, yeah, the resolution's 1280 by 800, but they can also take IPS displays, and I think it's just a direct swap if you have a CFL model. Otherwise, you're going to need an inverter. So, and the 1400 by 800 display, I mean 1440 by 900 panel that comes on the X200S and X201S will not work on a normal X200, but it will work on the X200S or a normal X201. So, well, at least that's been my experience. So the highest resolution you're gonna get out of a normal X200 is 1280 by 800. An X200S can run it, but it can also run LibreBoot, but it uses a WSON 8 chip, which to flash actually requires getting a heat gun out and taking the clip off and putting it on a little adapter. Or if you're really good at soldering, I am not good at soldering, you might be able to solder the leads on the edges of the chip and flash it with like whatever flash programmer you got. But yeah, normal X200 though is just a flash clip, and it's on the top so you don't have to completely disassemble it like a T-series. Okay, so I guess now that we're done with the X200, we should go on to the X220, and this is my really beat up X220 that's like Frankenstein between 3 X220s, but I've used this for like a year. It's a good laptop. It's more Lenovo-y, like the laptops from like the T60 to the T410. I guess it'd be the same for the X200 and X201, just use the same keyboards. And that's kind of nice, just, you know, you end up having a bunch of keyboards that are compatible. But yeah, 1366 by 768, and there are higher resolution display mods, which we'll take a look at with the Full HD X220 I got on a trade. And as you can see, the panel bezels are actually a little bit shorter. I don't know if you can tell from the video, and I still need to buy a screw kit for this. But yeah, otherwise, how the display mod works is, so these and the T420 use LVDS. So the max resolution on the LVDS connector on here is not capable of 1920 by 1080, so they use the docking ports display port lanes to actually drive the panel. And well, it's actually a very nice looking panel, and it requires like a special bezel and stuff, and this is just like the 51 NB I guess mod kit. I don't think there's a Linux driver. I tried the Linux driver for the other one, so it's either a driver issue or the sense wires messed up. So I did, like, when I first got this, I spent like 2 weeks, well, I mean my free time over 2 weeks trying to get it to work. I was kind of busy with school and stuff too. So I will try that in the near future, hopefully when I'm a little bit better at C programming. So anyways though, yeah, these are the ones I'm borrowing from a friend. He says I could keep one if I actually get the BIOS password, but see if either of these have battery power. Okay, that one doesn't, but these are the X100E and X121E, and I think they made like X100E to like X131E. And the X131E can actually be core booted, which is kind of neat, and they're like netbook sized, which is kind of cool. There's like a bunch of screws on here, and take those off, you can access the hard drive. And so these have BIOS passwords. I'm not able to actually do anything with that. I have just swapped the drives and they'll boot Linux. So I don't know, overall I will probably do a future video on these systems. But anyways though, I guess that's my video. Yeah, the X series, I have a lot of them. I don't really have any of the ones older than the Core 2 Duo and newer than Sandy Bridge. But I guess to sum that up, X230, you can do a classic keyboard mod, and it's pretty much an X220 with better graphics and more expensive. What else? X240, I've heard bad things about it, but it's probably okay. You can't do core boot though. And then I stopped kind of paying attention to newer ThinkPads after that, because they're out of my price range and they can't run core boot, so no freedoms. Okay, anyways though, I guess that's getting kind of rambly. Have a good one, and I'll be shipping this X200 out. Bye.